Hi, good day, learners. Again, this is your teacher, Sir Mulan, and welcome to another video tutorial on the unit quadratic equation and inequalities. And for this particular video, we're going to determine the quadratic equation if we are given the roots of the quadratic equation. And on my last video, um, we talk about the quadratic equation and the Vieta's formula, the relationship of the coefficients of the quadratic equation to the sum and product of the roots of the given quadratic equation using the Vieta's formula. And the Vieta's formula is denoted by x squared minus the quantity of R1 plus R2 minus the quantity of R1 plus R2 x plus R1 R2 is equals to 0. Ito yung dinerive natin sa last video. So we can determine the quadratic equation using this Vieta formula or yung factored form nito which is x minus R1, quantify natin, times the quantity of x minus R2 is equals to 0. All right, so let's move to our first example. Example number 1. If our roots is a whole number, like, or integers, -2 and x of 2 is equals to, let's say, +3. R1 and x of 1, they are just the same. So R1, or the roots, first root is equals to x of 1. Second root, or r's of 2, is equals to x of 2. So first step is we're going to remove the subscript, yung 1 and 2. Yan. X is equals to -2. X is equals to 3. Okay, and next step is we're going to transpose -2 to the other side of the equal sign. And yung 3 din, transpose din natin to the other side of the equal sign. Hatiin natin. So we have, so -2 magiging +2, +2. Since wala nang value dyan, magiging siyang 0. Ito naman, since positive si 3, magiging -3 na siya and equals na kay 0. And our next step is we're going to, lagay lang natin siya sa parenthesis, x plus 2 and x minus 3, equate natin sa 0, then perform FOIL method, and that would be x times x, that would be x squared, x times -3 minus 3x, 2 times x, that would be positive 2x, and 2 times -3, that would be -6, is equals to 0. And combine like terms, eto, para silang may x of 1, so we're going to combine yung coefficient nila algebraically. So x squared, it's -3 plus 2, that would be -1 times x, -x minus 6 is equals to 0. So ito na yung quadratic equation natin. So the value of our A is equals to 1, B is equals to -1, and C is equals to -6. So we're going to check using our calculator. The roots of this quadratic equation is really -2 and +3. Okay, let's grab our calculator. Yun. So mode 5, 3 lang. So A is equals to 1, 1, then press equal sign. Then B is equals to -1, so -1, then equal sign, and value ni C is equals to -6, so -6 equals, then another equal sign, yun, 3, and either press another equal sign or yung button, arrow down button. So let's expect that, we're going to expect that the other roots, or x of 2, is equals to -2. Yun, tama. Okay, clear lang natin to. And let's proceed with our second example. Yun na, integers yung given natin. So I have 5 examples dito. So example number 2, what if our roots naka-fraction form? Like 1/2 and the second root sabihin natin -2/3. So first step is lagay tayo ng divider dito. Meaning we're going to solve yung sa left part and sa right part. And first step is remove the subscript. So ayan, x is equals to 1/2, x is equals to -2/3. So pagka mga ganito, whole numbers, integers, fractions, we're going to simply use yung manipulating technique natin, manipulation technique gamit yung mga properties of equality. So in this case, para eliminate natin yung fraction muna or the denominator, so we're going to multiply both sides. Let's deal with this first, the left portion. So, multiply it by the denominator, which is 2. So, meaning, pag minultiply mo yung right side ng 2, you must also multiply the other side by 2. Notice na magka-cancel yan. Same with this. Yung denominator is 3. Multiply the other side by 3. And cancel yung 3. So, we are left with, dito, 2 times x, we have 2x is equals to 1. Ito naman, 3 times x is 3x is equals to -2. And yung next step is simple lang. Transpose natin si +1 to the other side and si -2 to the other side of the equal sign. So mag-change lang yung sign nila pag lumipat pag tumawid ng equal sign. Kaya 2x, si +1 magiging -1 equals to 0. Ito naman, 3x, si -2, nung tumawid ng equal sign, naging +2 equals to 0. And, yung next step natin is, ito, i-parenthesis lang natin sa kayan, 2x minus 1 times the quantity of 3x plus 2 is equals to 0. Then, perform FOIL method. So 2x times 3x, we have 6x squared. 2x times 2, that would be positive 4x. -1 times positive 3x, we have negative 3x. And -1 times positive 2, we have -2. And combine lang natin yung like terms, which is the product of outer terms and the inner terms. So simplifying, we have 6x squared. 4 minus 3 is 1. So positive 1 times x, we have plus x minus 2 is equals to 0. So we're going to check. So ito na yung quadratic equation. Given yung roots, x of 1 is equals to 1/2. And yung x of 2 is equals to -2/3. So the value of A is 6, value ni B is positive 1, and value ni C is -2. Now let's double check kung ito yung lalabas na values ng roots pag ginamit natin yung calculator natin. So value of A is 6. 6 equals, value ni B is 1. So 1 equals, and value ni C is -2. -2 equals, then another equal sign, 1/2. And x of 2 is -2/3. Check nga natin. Yun. Correct. Okay, so let's move to our next example. So yung first example is integer, yung given. Second example is naka-fraction. What if yung third example natin may imaginary? Example number 3, say x of 1 is equals to 1 plus 3i, and si x of 2 is equals to 1 minus 3i. Pagka may imaginary, radical, and combination ng radical and fraction, it would be best kung gagamitin natin to. Or ito. For this example, ito muna yung gamitin natin. So that would be x minus the quantity of R1 or x of 1, that would be 1 plus 3i times x minus 1 minus 3i equals 0. And our next step is we're going to distribute yung negative sign o yung minus sign, ito, to each term sa loob ng parenthesis. Yun. Kaya, x negative times positive 1, negative 1. Negative times positive 3i, negative 3i. Then, x negative times positive 1, negative 1. Negative times negative 3i, positive 3i equals to 0. Kung kanina, kung napansin nyo, ito yung nakagroup. Dito, we can group this. We can group that. Pabalik na rin lang natin. So, that would be x, the quantity of x minus 1 minus 3i times the quantity of x minus 1 plus 3i is equals to 0. And pwede na tayong mag-FOIL. FOIL tayo paano? Ito. First terms, the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 1. That would be, ba natin, x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 1 followed by the outer terms. Ano yung outer terms? Si x minus 1 to be multiplied kay positive 3i. So, magiging positive 3i times the quantity of x minus 1. Then, yung inner terms, ito, negative 3i times the quantity of x minus 1. So, we have negative 3i, then quantity of x minus 1. Then, yung product ni last terms, which is negative 3i times positive 3i. So, negative times positive is equals to negative. So, negative 3i times 3i is equals to 0. So, let's simplify. Notice that we can cancel this. Positive 3i times the quantity of x minus 1 and negative 3i times the quantity of x minus 1. And we can simplify this. And also this one, yung minus tapos square nito. So we can simplify this by x minus 1 or the quantity of x minus 1 squared minus square of 3i is equals to 0. Pansinin muna natin tong portion na to. Siya nga pala I is simply equals to I is equals to the square root of negative 1. Okay, so ang mangyayari is we're going to distribute this sa loss of exponents. Yan, didistribute natin si 2 at k I. So ang mangyayari is x minus 1 or the quantity of x minus 1 squared maging 3 squared I squared is equals to 0. And gamitin ko to as scratch, kung I is equals to the square root of negative 1, if we square that, I squared, ni-raise natin to squared, so magiging I squared. Ito magka-cancel. So magiging -1. That's why yung susunod is the quantity of x minus 1 squared minus 3 squared is 9 times -1 is equals to 0. Foil na natin to. That would be x squared. Shortcut, x times -1 times 2, -2x. Then square ni -1, -1 times -1, that would be +1, minus yung product ni 9 times -9, -1, which is -9, is equals to 0. And pwede pa siyang masimplify. Distribute natin si negative, or multiply, negative times negative, magiging positive. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 9 is equals to 0. And our quadratic equation is equals to x squared minus 2x plus 10. So if we are given the roots, x of 1 natin is equals to 1 plus 3i, and yung x of 2 natin is 1 minus 3i, its quadratic equation is equivalent to x squared minus 2x plus 10. So let's check using our calculator. So before natin i-check, identify natin yung values ni A. A is equals to 1, B is equals to -2, and C is equals to +10. Now let's move to our calculator. Ang kailangan lumabas na roots is 1 plus 3i, then 1 minus 3i. Okay, value of A is 1. Value of B is -2, -2 equals, and value ni C is 10 equals. So if I press equal sign, either yung lalabas is 1 plus 3i or 1 minus 3i. Equal sign. Ayun. And we can expect that the second root is 1 minus 3i. Okay, dokie. Tamang tama. Okay, let's move to our next example. Our fourth example. So, ibay naman natin yung given. So, yung last is merong imaginary. Yung example number 4, let's make it na may radical. Let's say -4 plus square root of 3. Then yung x of 2 is equals to -4 minus square root of 3. And gagamitin pa rin natin yung x minus r of 1 times x minus r of 2 is equals to 0. Parang same way lang kung paano natin sinolve yung example number 3. Okay, that would be x minus the quantity of -4 plus square root of 3 times the quantity of x minus the quantity of -4 minus square root of 3 equals kay 0. Then, ang next step natin is distribute yung negative sign sa loob ng parenthesis. Ito. Kaya ang mangyayari is x negative times negative magiging positive. 4 negative times positive negative square root of 3. X negative times negative, so plus 4. Negative times negative plus square root of 3 is equals to 0. Kanina, ito yung nakagroup. But this time, ito naman yung group natin. And we're going to perform FOIL method. So, i-group natin siya para hindi nakakalito. That's x plus 4 minus square root of 3 times x plus 4 plus square root of 3 is equals to 0. And FOIL method, x plus 4 times x plus 4, the quantity of x plus 4 times x plus 4. Then, yung outer terms, the quantity of x plus 4 times positive square root of 3, positive square root of 3, times the quantity of x plus 4. Then, inner terms, negative square root of 3 times quantity of x plus 4. Then, yung last terms, negative square root of 3 times positive square root of 3. So, negative times positive. So, negative. Then, ayan, square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is equals to 0. And observe nyo that yung middle terms magka-cancel lang. Yan. We are left with x plus 4, 1, if I squared, minus squared is equals to 0. Para lang siyang difference of two squares. And eto pa, pwede natin itong cancel. Yan. So, expand natin yung naka-squared. So, x squared, x times 4 times 2, so plus 8x, plus 4 squared, that would be 16 minus 3 is equals to 0. So, pag sinimplify natin yan, x squared plus 8x plus 13 is equals to 0. So, ayan yung quadratic equation natin. If we have roots na negative 4 plus square root of 3, and yung second root is negative 4 minus square root of 3. Let's double check with our calculator na ito dapat yung lalabas pag tinype natin yung mga coefficient ni quadratic equation na to, whose A is equals to 1, B is equals to 8, and C is equals to 13. Now, let's grab our calculator. So, mode 5, 3. So, value ni A is 1, equal sign. Value ni B is 8, equal sign. And value ni C is 13, equal sign. So, if I press equal sign, yung lalabas is either negative 4 plus square root of 3 or negative 4 minus square root of 3. Boom! Negative 4 plus square root of 3. And if I press the arrow down button, yung lalabas na value for x of 2 is negative 4 minus square root of 3. Tadaan! Okay. Now, let's move to our last example. What if yung roots natin is combination? Example number 5, combination of fraction and the radical. X of 1 is equals to negative 2 plus square root of 13 all over 3. And yung x of 2 natin is negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3. Gamitin naman natin to kasi di pa natin to nagagamit. R1 plus R2 x plus R1 and R2. So, apply natin. Yan. Medyo mahaba-haba lang to ng konti. Pero kaya yan. X of 2 minus, that would be negative 2 plus square root of 13 all over 3 plus negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3 x plus yung product ni negative 2 plus square root of 13 over 3 times negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3 is equals to 0. Okay. Add muna natin to. Since they have the same denominator, negative 2 plus square root of 13. Pag nagpa-plus ka ng similar fraction, yung numerator, yung signs hindi mag-change. Negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3 x plus, eto, we multiply yung numerators and denominators, negative 2 plus square root of 13 times negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3 times 3 is equals to 0. Alright, pansinin. Dito meron na magka-cancel. Ayan, see? Positive square root of 13 at negative square root of 13. And we are left with negative 2 minus 2. So, mangyayari is x squared minus Negative 2 minus 2, that will be negative 4 over 3 x plus, FOIL natin to, negative 2 times negative 2, then negative 2 times negative square root of 13. So negative times negative, magiging positive 2 square root of 13. Then ito naman, first terms, outer terms, inner terms naman, positive square root of 13 times negative 2. So magiging negative 2 square root of 13. Then yung last term, positive times negative. So that would be negative times square root of 13 times square root of 13 all over 9 is equals to 0. And pansinin din na ito, magka-cancel to. Yun. Then simplify natin to. So negative times negative 4 thirds, x squared. So negative times negative, so magiging plus 4 thirds x. Ito naman, simplify naman natin. That would be plus negative 2 times negative 2, that would be positive 4. Then minus, parang square root of 13 squared all over 9 is equals to 0. Di pa tayo tapos. Simplify ulit natin. Oh, ito. Pwede itong mag-cancel. Si radical at si exponent. Kaya pag sinimplify natin yan, we have x squared plus 4 thirds x plus 4 minus 13 all over 9 is equals to 0. Simplify natin tong last portion, itong 4 minus 13. 4 minus 13, that would be negative plus negative 9 over 9 is equals to 0. And negative 9 over 9, x squared plus 4 over 3x plus, will be negative 1 is equals to 0. And distribute lang natin si plus na sign. Positive times negative, we have x squared plus 4 over 3x minus 1 is equals to 0. And pangit naman tingnan kung meron tayong denominator as our fraction as a coefficient. So we have to multiply everything by kung ano man yung denominator, and that is 3 times 3. So pag nag-multiply ka sa one side of the equal sign ng 3, you must also multiply the other side. So distribute 3 times x squared, we have 3x squared plus 3 times 4 third. So ang mangyayari dyan is 3 times 4 over 3x. Notice na ito magka-cancel si 3 at si 3. Then, ito naman si 3 times negative 1. So magiging negative 3. Yung kabila, 0 times 3 is still 0. So let's rewrite para mas malinaw. 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 is equals to 0. So ito na yung quadratic equation natin, wherein the value of our a is equals to 3, value of our b is equals to 4, and the value of c is equals to negative 3. And we're going to grab our calculator to prove that 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 is equals to 0. Yung roots niya ay equal kay negative 2 plus square root of 13 over 3 at si x of 2 is negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3. Now let's grab our calculator. So value ni A is 3. 3 equals. Value ni B is 4. And value ni C is negative 3. Negative 3. So pag prines ko si equal sign, yung expected roots is either negative 2 plus square root of 13 over 3 or negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3. So equal sign, ayun, negative 2 plus square root of 13 all over 3. And I'm sure na yung value ni x of 2 will be negative 2 minus square root of 13 all over 3. Yun. Sana may natutunan and I do hope madali na lang to para sa inyo sa mga susunod. So pag when you try to solve your problems, katulad dito, you would be able to. And I hope you enjoy your day and God bless. And see you on my next video.